Seoul, South Korea, shocking news comes from the South Korean entertainment world. Jungkook, one of the members of the boy group BTS, was reportedly rushed to the hospital due to his health condition, which suddenly worsened. This news instantly shocked fans around the world. However, even more surprising was the reaction of his close friend, Kim Taehyung, or better known by the stage name V. Upon hearing the news that Jungkook had to be hospitalized, Taehyung reportedly experienced severe shock until he fainted. This incident took place at night at the BTS dorm located in the Hanamdong area of Seoul. According to a source close to the group, the members had just finished their busy schedules and were preparing to rest when Jungkook suddenly complained of feeling dizzy and having trouble breathing. At first, the members thought that it was just an effect of the fatigue that idols often experience with their busy schedules. However, within minutes, Jungkook's condition worsened. RM, as the group leader, immediately took action by contacting their manager for medical assistance. Meanwhile, Taehyung, who had been worried from the beginning, asked Jungkook if he was okay. Jungkook could only nod weakly before finally collapsing. Seeing the condition, panic immediately engulfed the entire dorm. Jimin, who was standing near Jungkook, immediately cried, while Jin and Suga tried to calm the others. When the medical team arrived, they immediately gave Jungkook first aid before taking him to the hospital. Taehyung, who had not let go of Jungkook's hand, tried to follow the ambulance, but the manager forbade him so that the situation would not get more chaotic. "We'll let you know as soon as we have more information," one of the staff members told the BTS members. As soon as the ambulance left, the atmosphere in the dorm changed into silence. However, the silence of the atmosphere did not last long. A few seconds later, Taehyung suddenly lost his balance. His face was deathly pale, his breath hunting, and in an instant, his body collapsed to the floor. Jimin, who was standing next to him, immediately caught Taehyung's limp body. Suga and Jin immediately approached to check on his condition.
Taehyung야,
"You hear me?" Jimin exclaimed in panic while shaking Taehyung's body that did not respond. RM, who was still holding his phone, called the medical team again, this time to ask for help for Taehyung. In a short time, the medical team that previously treated Jungkook returned to BTS's dorm. They immediately check on Taehyung, who is still unconscious. This may be a result of severe shock, one of the medics said after checking Taehyung's blood pressure and heart rate. "We will take him to the hospital for further examination." Jimin, who still looked very panicked, almost cried to see the condition of his best friend. "Can we come?" he asked in a trembling voice. The manager shook his head. "For now, you better stay in the dorm. I'll make sure they get the best treatment." With a heavy heart, the members could only watch as Taehyung's body was lifted into an ambulance, following Jungkook, who had already been rushed to the hospital. Upon arrival at the hospital, Taehyung immediately gets treatment. Doctors stated that he had panic attacks due to stress and severe shock. After being given a sedative, Taehyung finally regained consciousness. However, as soon as he opened his eyes, the first thing he asked was Jungkook. "What about Jungkook?" he asked in a weak voice. His eyes searched for the figure of his little friend, but all he saw were the doctors and nurses around him. The doctor tried to calm him down. "Jungkook is in treatment. We make sure that the condition is stable." However, that answer wasn't enough for Taehyung. He tried to get out of bed, but his body was too weak. At that moment, the door of the hospital room opened, and RM and Jimin entered with faces full of worry. "Taehyung, Jimin immediately approached her, holding her hand tightly. "You okay?" Taehyung didn't answer. His eyes were glazed. "Jungkook. I have to see Jungkook," he pleaded. RM took a deep breath. "His condition is not stable, Taehyung." The doctor said he needed a full rest. "We have to wait." Taehyung bit his lip. The tears he had been holding back had finally fallen. "I'm scared," he whispered. "I'm afraid something happened to him. I didn't even get to tell him I was here." Jimin tried to calm her down by stroking her shoulder. "Jungkook is strong. He'll be fine." That night, Taehyung couldn't sleep. Although the doctor advised him to rest, his mind continued to daydream. Jungkook's shared memories fill his mind, Their laughter during rehearsals together, their jokes on stage, and the togetherness they've lived together since the trainee days. Jungkook is not just a dongseong to her. He is a friend, a family member, someone who has been like a part of her life. The next morning, Taehyung forces himself to wake up. With the help of RM and Jimin, he walks towards Jungkook's treatment room. As soon as he saw Jungkook lying in bed with an 4 device in his arm, tears flooded Taehyung's eyes again. Jungkook, who still looked weak, slowly opened his eyes and smiled a little. Hyung. Taehyung closed his mouth, holding back a sob. He immediately sat down beside the bed, holding Jungkook's hand tightly. Sorry to worry you, Jungkook whispered. Taehyung nodded quickly. Don't say that. The important thing is you're okay. Jimin and RM, who were standing behind, could only smile in relief at their interaction. Although last night was a night full of panic, they were finally able to breathe a little freely. That day, news about Jungkook and Taehyung began to spread in the media. Big Hit Entertainment finally issued an official statement regarding their condition, assuring that both are in good care and asking the army not to worry. Outside the hospital, fans sent prayers and support via social media. The hashtags #GetWellSoon Jungkook and Stay Strong Taehyung are trending on various platforms. Although this incident is quite shocking, one thing is certain. The relationship between the members of BTS, especially Taehyung and Jungkook, is something so deep and precious. They are not just colleagues, but a family that is always there for each other in joy and sorrow. Shortly after their conversation, a doctor walks into Jungkook's room with his medical records. All eyes were on him, especially Taehyung, who hadn't let go of Jungkook's hand. The doctor smiled slightly, trying to calm the atmosphere. Jungkook's condition is much more stable. We found that the symptoms he experienced were due to excessive physical fatigue and considerable mental stress. His immune system is weakened, so his body is not able to withstand too heavy loads. Hearing that, RM and Jimin looked at each other. They know very well how hard Jungkook has been working lately. As one of the youngest members of BTS, Jungkook has always felt a great responsibility to give his best, both on stage and in every activity they go through. Taehyung gulps, still feeling uneasy even though the doctor says that Jungkook's condition has improved. Is he really going to be okay? He asked hoarsely. The doctor nodded reassuringly. As long as he gets enough rest and doesn't push himself in the next few weeks, there will be no problems. We will continue to monitor his condition, but so far there are no serious complications to worry about. Although the explanation was quite a relief, Taehyung still couldn't completely calm down.